Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's talk. We have got Lisa Rutter, our chairman from Dementia Club UK, with us for a second talk. We're so grateful that you've come back to us. So today's talk is going to focus on, of course, carers, support, professional advice and improvements. So it's kind of an update. I'd just like to give a little introduction to Lisa Rutter, who was a former councillor for the Brunswick Park ward in the London Borough of Barnet for 16 years. She was the mayor of the London Borough of Barnet from 2011 to 2012. And in her mayoral year, one of her charities was the Alzheimer's Society. With the money raised, Lisa founded the first Alzheimer's Society Dementia Cafe in the London Borough of Barnet, which was launched in August 2013 at the Finchley Memorial Hospital. Lisa, who is a qualified fitness instructor, was running the very successful Alzheimer's Society Dementia Cafe monthly over 2 years. And as members increased, she realised that there was a real need. There was to provide more sessions. A fundraising event at Alliance Park in December 2014 resulted in the chairman of Saracens wanting to support and provide funds for Lisa to be able to run weekly sessions. The Saracens Dementia Club was launched in April 2015 and weekly sessions started on the 22nd of April 2015. Lisa created the registered charity Dementia Club UK, which continues to be sponsored by Saracens, and sessions continue to run weekly. Each session aims to provide professional advice and information, gentle exercise to music, and fun activities in a social atmosphere. Various speakers join and support the sessions alongside a GP who volunteers their time and attends most sessions. Dementia Club UK has commissioned research studies, one of which was with Middlesex University, which demonstrated the club as having a positive impact on those living with or caring for a person with dementia based on their techniques and the model used in its cafe. So huge welcome to Lisa. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we're looking forward to hearing a bit of an update from you. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Christiana, and thank you for that lovely introduction as usual. It's a pleasure to be invited again to your Parents and Carers network event. As Christiana has said, my last talk in March 2021 was giving you an introduction about Dementia Club UK and how we helped a lot of people during the pandemic. They were very, very difficult times, but during that time, we were able to give people another lifeline, and it was a great lifesaver for them, especially as during that time as the health champion of the borough, I was able to introduce the essential caregiver policy through government. And this was fantastic for a lot of carers who were unable to see their loved ones in hospital or care homes. And this gave them the opportunity to be able to see their loved ones. This was something that we had campaigned all together during the carers group meetings, which were of great benefit. But since March 2021, we've also joined in partnership with Barnet Carers. Many people would know Barnet Carers and would know Mike Rich, who is the CEO of Barnet Carers. And since then, we've also become CPD qualified to do training about dementia to various organizations, businesses, hospitals, care homes, GP surgeries. And the whole aim of doing this is to create a better understanding about dementia, which is a real necessity in the community. So, you know, we've come a long way since March 2021, and we, Dementia Club UK are continuing to provide the support to all those living with dementia and their carers. I think we've had the effects of the pandemic has not been easy for a lot of people. A lot of people have been affected not only mentally, but it's changed a lot of people's life completely. And this was because during the pandemic, it was very difficult accessing any support, any services. It was all very, very difficult, which was why we created the carers group meetings, which are every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. because this gives the carers the opportunity to join and talk about any issues, any challenges that they have, anything that they need to talk about. We bring a lot of professional speakers to these meetings. We've had, for example, from the council speakers, we've had Health Watch Barnet, we've had MPs, we've had doctors, we've had the Director of Public Health to these meetings. And we also do mindfulness sessions. We have a trainer called Andrew Wrench who does mindfulness, and he does other topics of interest. Sometimes carers like to talk about certain topics, and we do provide that, and we do provide the training as well. So I know that this is what we're here this afternoon to give you also as carers the opportunity to raise any issues, any challenges that you've got, anything you'd like to talk about. This was one of the talks that we had a couple of weeks ago in our carers group meeting. And I brought somebody from the council, a lady from CCG, and you've all been notified by Christiana. The 3 questions that were asked in the meeting was what's working, what's not working, and how we can improve. This created a lot of discussion in the carers group meeting, and a lot of feedback has been taken back. And I want to give you the opportunity as well. And I said to Christiana, this might be something that you as carers also might like to put forward. I'll just give you an example, but I don't want to, sort of put the words into your mouths, but some of the things that were said were carers' voices need to be heard. Unpaid carers need to feel valued and supported. Carers were unsure where to start immediately after their loved one's diagnosis. There was not enough information at the GP or the memory clinic. People didn't know where to go or where to find the necessary information. I mean, this is something that I can relate to as well as a carer. When my mum was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease 10 years ago, and I was in that situation. I didn't know what dementia was about. I didn't know that, yes, there was information, there was leaflets out there, but there's no tailor-made leaflets. There's no information that's going to say to you how to look after your loved one. It's not one glove fits all. This is the difficulty that many people are facing, and this is why I set up Dementia Club UK.
So yeah, sorry, first of all, Lisa, can you talk a little bit more around that last section, what to do? Where do people find themselves after that initial diagnosis, and trying to seek that information? Do they go to Carers UK, or are they able to kind of come? Your website's great, so are they able to?
Well, the normal procedure would be to first of all go to your GP, but the problem with GPs nowadays is, well, not just nowadays, is that GPs do not fully understand about dementia.
Okay.
They do not have at hand where to signpost people, and signposting is very important. So first of all, getting that diagnosis, whether that patient is confirmed that they do have dementia, because sometimes it's not dementia. It could be another problem like vitamin deficiency or some other medical problem. And with medication, that can simply be put right. But when dementia is diagnosed, they need to be referred to the memory clinic, and the memory clinic consultant would then talk to them and again give them the medication, signpost them to organizations such as Dementia Club UK. I do get a lot of referrals every week from the memory clinic and from GP surgeries now, which is good.
Is that just for the borough of Barnet, or is it becoming more vast?
No, this is the borough of Barnet mostly, but I do get other outside boroughs as well, like Enfield, Haringey. They do refer to me, yes.
Are there like sister organisations or like any dementia organisations that kind of beyond Barnet? 'Cause, yeah, we're so lucky. That strikes me that we're so lucky to have you in this area.
Well, that was one of the questions that came into the meeting, which said that not enough dementia cafes.
Okay.
But we are not just a dementia cafe. I mean, there's a lot more to us than we don't just offer tea and coffee and cakes.
Yeah,
We do a
definitely
lot
goes
more.
far beyond that. Yeah.
And what I do especially is I follow up with carers. I visit carers when there's a need. I also intervene when necessary if their loved one is in hospital. They're not getting, the attention they need because perhaps the doctors, the nurses don't fully understand what their need is. Although it's noted on their medical records, doctors and nurses are very busy. They haven't got the time to be patient, to feed someone who has dementia if they're taking over an hour to feed, for example. If their medication is not tablets and it's liquid form, all this is very difficult. So that's where I come in. I'm there for people to call me anytime, and it's not, we're not 9 till 5 Dementia Club UK. If I get a call at midnight, I will take it because someone with dementia or a carer who is stressed and unable to, perhaps they don't know what to do, they will call and I will try and help. I will do what I can.
Thank you, Lisa. Gosh, it's always, it's just so worrying. Can you talk about that little area as well, the not what's not working? Sorry, I know you've touched on some of it. It might be that you...
Yeah, of course. Well, people, some of the other things that were noted, people need hand holding from the start. And this is, for example, where my example came in, as a carer. I needed hand holding from the start. I didn't know this was a world that I was entering that I had no idea. People don't know what services you need. Do you need what benefits you're entitled to? These are the sort of things. But, I didn't know what benefits or anything that was out there that I needed. So I didn't ask the question for myself. But unless somebody's there to provide you with that information and say to you, right, okay, now you're entering into this world. Do you know that you can apply for this, you can apply for that, you need to go here, you need to go there, this is what you might need. All this is not there for you. And this is why it's important. Some of the other things that were said were GPs not offering double appointments for people who have learning difficulties and other mental health issues, because mental health should be treated as an emergency, and it's not. GP surgeries are not working well as there are less permanent GPs and there's more locums. So people are not seeing their usual GP anymore. You go to your GP and you see a locum who doesn't understand you, who doesn't know your medical history, hasn't had the time to look at your medical history. And what happens is a lot of times the locum sends you to A&E, and completely unnecessary sometimes because they don't have the time. So just to be sure that they're not missing anything out, they send you to A&E. Unpaid carers need to feel supported and given more respite. Again, this is not being recognised. I mean, we are unpaid carers and we face challenging moments all day, all night. We just carry on as usual. And we find it very difficult to get any time off. I do. I know it's very difficult. I don't get any respite. Life doesn't stop just because a loved one has been diagnosed with dementia. Financial hardship is a real issue for many carers, and their lives become consumed with their role as a carer. Many are unaware of the support available to them. You know, this is what we said before. People should not be discharged from the memory clinic. They should be offered yearly reassessments. Now, this is happening quite a lot, because even though you're being discharged from the memory clinic, there's no follow-up. So unless the carer goes back to the GP and starts again, you're not going to get referred back to the memory clinic.
That's very worrying, that one.
Yes.
It seems to be a step that, yeah, like would be an obvious step to have a yearly reassessment.
Well, absolutely. Another theme which arose in the session were the inconsistencies people face throughout their dementia journey, from diagnosis and GP support to interactions with social services staff, memory service receptionists and care agencies. A lot was talked about the GP in practice and the receptionists, some of them being very aggressive, quite rude, very dismissive, not having the time, and having to describe your symptoms to the receptionist. So the receptionist in a way is acting like a triage, and you have to talk to them, and it could be very private, and you don't really want to talk about anything private to the receptionist. But the receptionists nowadays, I'm not saying all of the receptionists, because some doctor surgeries may be good, but most GP surgeries now have the system where you have to talk to the receptionist. Receptionist makes a decision as to whether you are really necessary to see or speak to the doctor. This could be devastating, because if the receptionist makes the wrong decision, and maybe what the person has described to the reception, it doesn't sound very serious, but they could have missed something, and that could be devastating. They could have missed something. So this is quite critical as well. And I think lastly, I think we've touched upon appointments and discharge. Yeah. And our conclusion was there is a need to ensure that standardized information, advice and support across the borough is accessible, sustainable and appropriate for patient and informal carer. There needs to be more support available for informal carers in Barnet, not just in Barnet, in all boroughs. Should be easily available and accessible right from the start. The dementia journey for both patients and carers is a priority throughout the journey, starting at the GP, continuing at the memory service and ending at the GP, and ensure a more joined up approach, both in terms of diagnosis and subsequent care, but also in the offer, awareness and delivery of support and services. I did ask, I am in correspondence with the lady who came to CCG, and she is aware that I'm having this meeting today with you as well. And, as I said, quite happy to take on any further challenges or issues that any of the carers in this meeting have faced. And if it's private, I'm happy for them to email me, Christiana, if they want to, and I can take that on privately and speak to them privately if that's necessary, because I know there's not enough time today. But that's basically.
Thank you so much, yeah. Lisa, particularly for that conclusion. That's brilliant. I'm going to thank you hugely and stop recording and open the floor to our allies.